Is your car getting forgetful? A transmission that suddenly can't remember how to shift? Climate control that ignores the temperature?
You said 5 minutes ago. That's not normal. It's digital confusion. And in the last 20 years, I've torn down hundreds
Of transmissions and modules where owners wasted over $5,000 on new parts, all to fix a computer that just lost its way. Today, we're counting down the 12 signs your car's electronic memory is corrupted. And if you stay to the end, I'll give you the 3 memory wipe procedures that can make it drive like new again. Let's start with the one that shops misdiagnose 90% of the time. Number 12. The one-sided climate argument. Ever have your HVAC system blast Arctic cold on you while your passenger is getting cooked with hot air? You probably blamed low refrigerant. Here's the thing. Your climate control module uses tiny motors called blend door actuators to direct airflow. After years of heat and vibration, their internal position sensors drift. The computer thinks a door is closed when it's really halfway open, creating that bizarre temperature split. It smells like nothing, feels like a prank, but it's just bad data. According to General Motors TSB 18NA178, this exact issue on dozens of models isn't a failed part, but a calibration error. A shop might charge you $150 for a useless filter change. Ignore it, and you're looking at a $900 quote for a new actuator. You don't need catastrophic? Not really, but I saw a 2019 Silverado owner sweat through a whole summer over this. The fix was a 5-minute button sequence. Have you chased this ghost in your own car? Tell me the year and model below. If this feels harmless, wait until that digital confusion starts affecting how you see the road at night. Number 11. The infotainment amnesia. Does your head unit freeze, reboot for no reason, or forget the phone it was paired to yesterday? Before you spend $800 on a replacement, listen. Here's the thing. These infotainment systems aren't high-end computers. Their memory buffers fill up with junk data from Bluetooth, navigation, and app streaming, leading to software glitches, just like a laptop. That's never been restarted. It gets slow, then it crashes. Independent analysis on XDA developers for Android automotive systems confirms cache overload is the primary cause of this non-responsive behavior. The first sign is lag, costing you nothing but patience. Ignore it, and you're looking at an $800 replacement quote from a dealer who sees a black screen. The catastrophic cost? Distracted driving? When your navigation dies mid-turn. I trust it when you can feel the silence after a reboot. On a 2020 Honda Accord, we fixed a constant boot loop by just disconnecting the battery for 10 minutes. The silence was golden. Drop a comment if a simple reboot has ever saved you a trip to the shop. 3 weeks later, that same owner called back about a much more expensive memory lapse. Number 10. The lazy throttle response. You clean your throttle body, expecting sharp acceleration, but instead, you get a wandering high idle. Or a dead spot right off the line. What happened? Here's the thing. Cleaning that gunk away changes the physics of the airflow. Your engine control unit, or ECU, has spent years learning the exact throttle angle needed to idle. With the old, dirty plate, it doesn't know you fixed it. It's still commanding the throttle based on corrupt, outdated data. According to Bosch service data, a throttle position relearn is mandatory after any service that alters idle airflow. Ignoring it costs you fuel economy first. Then it's a $200 diagnostic fee when the check engine light pops. For an erratic idle code, the worst case, the car stalls pulling into traffic. I've seen a Nissan Altima that could barely hold 500 RPM. The owner was convinced he broke the sensor. The fix was a specific pedal sequence that took 60 seconds and cost $0. Meanwhile, in Arizona, a different kind of heat was causing a much more violent symptom. Number 9. The all-wheel drive bind. Ever feel that shudder or binding when making a tight turn in a parking lot? Like the wheels are fighting each other? Your first thought is a failing transfer case, a $4,000 nightmare. Here's the thing. The all-wheel drive control module is just as critical as the fluid inside. It learns the slip characteristics of the clutch packs over thousands of miles. When you change the fluid, the friction properties change instantly, but the module is still applying hydraulic pressure based on the old, worn-out fluid's memory. This makes the clutches grab instead of slip. According to NHTSA Complaint ID 11453213 for a 2017 Ford Edge, this exact shudder was resolved not with parts, but with a simple software recalibration. The early cost is just the binding. Ignore it, and you'll pay $250 for a fluid service that doesn't fix it. Keep driving, and you'll burn up the clutch packs, landing you that $4,000 bill for real. Before you turn the key tomorrow, think about what your transmission is trying to tell you. Number 8. The indecisive shift. Your transmission starts flaring between gears, or slamming into drive so hard it feels like you've been rear-ended. The internet says it's a bad solenoid pack, a $900 job. Here's the thing. Your transmission control module, or TCM, is constantly adapting to clutch wear. This adaptive learning is brilliant until a sudden voltage change, like a new battery, scrambles its memory. It's now applying pressures designed for worn clutches to a mechanically perfect system. It's like trying to sign your name with your eyes closed. The muscle memory is all wrong. Ford's own service literature for the 10R80 transmission explicitly lists resetting adaptive learning tables as a primary fix for shift quality issues. I saw a 2018 F-150 that felt like the transmission was falling out. The dealer quoted a $200 valve body replacement. A 20-minute drive cycle to reteach the TCM made it shift like it was brand new. Tap-like. If you've ever been told you need a new transmission when the old one just felt confused. If you think that shift is bad, wait until the confusion starts mimicking a complete mechanical failure. Number 7. The phantom slip and shudder. This is the big one. Your transmission shudders under light acceleration. Feeling like you're driving over a rumble strip. Or it feels like it's slipping between gears, with the engine RPMs flaring for no reason. This is where owners get sold a $5,000 rebuild they don't need. Here's the thing. A confused TCM can mimic these symptoms perfectly. If its learned data becomes corrupted, it can apply and release hydraulic pressure incorrectly, causing a shudder that feels identical to a glazed clutch pack. A 2022 study by Intertech Testing Services showed that nearly 30% of transmissions replaced for shudder had no significant internal wear. The problem was purely electronic. The cost starts at a $150 diagnostic. It escalates to a $1,200 valve body. And it ends with a $5,000 rebuild you never needed. I trust it when you can smell it. And a confused computer doesn't smell like burnt fluid. Has a shop ever tried to sell you a rebuild? I want to hear the story. 3 weeks later, the problem isn't in the transmission. It's everywhere and nowhere. Number 6. The CAN bus ghost. Suddenly, your dashboard lights up like a Christmas tree. ABS fault, stability control error, check engine light. All at once. Is your car completely falling apart? Here's the thing. No. Your car is a network of computers screaming data over a system called the CAN bus.
One module having a meltdown can confuse all the others. A failing $10 wheel speed sensor can broadcast bad data that makes the ECU, TCM, and ABS module all think. There's a catastrophic failure. According to shop data from the Automotive Service Association, these network faults account for over 20% of complex electronic misdiagnoses. An amateur will charge you $300 to clear codes that just come back. A dealer might start replacing modules at $1,000 apiece. The real fix is finding the one noisy component and silencing it, which might only cost you $250 in diagnostic time. Don't let them replace the whole orchestra for one bad violin. Meanwhile, in a dealership service bay in the Rust Belt, a technician is chasing a problem that isn't even a part. Number 5. The bad ground nightmare. Your engine stumbles, your lights flicker, and the car has bizarre, intermittent electrical gremlins that you can never show your mechanic. You've already replaced the battery and the alternator. Here's the thing. Computers need a clean, stable ground reference to read sensor data. A single corroded ground strap introduces electrical noise, giving every sensor a faulty baseline. An oxygen sensor reading 0.1 volts might look like a lean condition to the ECU, but the real problem is a rusty ground. Adding a 0.5 volt offset, making the computer dump fuel for no reason. It smells like raw gas and feels like a misfire. SAE paper 2022-21-001-0559 confirms how high-frequency noise from bad grounds can mimic sensor failure. I saw a 2016 Jeep Wrangler where the owner spent $3,000 chasing what looked like a bad ECU. The real problem? A $10 ground strap under the battery tray that had corroded through. This is the last stop before catastrophic costs. Check your grounds before you approve any major repair. Before you turn the key tomorrow, ask yourself if your car truly knows who you are. Number 4. The security lockout. You get in your car, turn the key, and nothing. The engine won't crank. And a little light with a car and a key is flashing on the dash. Here's the thing. This is your immobilizer system. The key, the ignition, and the ECU are in a digital marriage. If one of them gets amnesia and forgets the security handshake, the ECU refuses to start the car. A common cause is a dying battery. The voltage drop during a failed crank can corrupt the key data. The first cost is the tow truck, maybe $150. The dealer will quote you $400 for a new programmed key. The catastrophic cost is being stranded somewhere unsafe. But often, a simple key relearn procedure detailed in your vehicle's factory service manual can re-establish the connection. You just need to know the secret handshake. Have you ever been locked out by your own car? Let us know. If this feels like a digital nightmare, the next one is the physical swap that can bring it all down. Number 3. The mismatched module. You just had a major repair. A new ABS module, maybe a body control module. Now, other things are broken, your windows act strange, or the remote start fails. Here's the thing. Modern control modules are not plug and play. When a new module is installed, it must be programmed with your car's specific VN and options. If a shop skips this, the new module is a stranger on the network, causing communication chaos. According to a report by Opus IVS, a leading diagnostics company, over 15% of post-repair electronic issues trace back to improper module programming. The cost is the initial repair, say $800. The next cost is another $300 in diagnostic time to figure out the new problem. The worst cost is a new module that was never needed because the first one wasn't programmed correctly. I saw a Chrysler Pacifica where a new BCM left. The power sliding doors completely dead. The part was fine. It just hadn't been introduced to the car. 3 weeks later, the owner is ready to sell the car. But there's one last reset. Number 2, the capacitive discharge. You've tried everything. You've checked grounds, reset modules, but the gremlins persist. This is the last stop before replacing the most expensive computer in your car. Here's the thing. Sometimes, control modules get stuck in a logic loop that a simple battery disconnect won't clear. Why? Because capacitors inside the module can retain a small electrical charge, holding onto the corrupt data in volatile memory. A capacitive discharge, or a true hard reset, fully drains this residual electricity. This forces every single module to reboot from a zero state, with no memory of the glitch. Independent repair directives, especially for BMW and Mercedes, list this as a final step before module replacement. The cost is $0 and 10 minutes of your time versus the $2,000 to $4,000 cost of replacing a major computer. It's the digital equivalent of a clean slate. But if that doesn't work, you're facing the number 1 most expensive misdiagnosis in the modern car. Number 1. The unnecessary ECU replacement. The diagnosis is in, your ECU is fried. The car won't start, or it runs terribly. The quote is $4,000. This is the moment you have to stop and think. Here's the thing. A truly internally failed ECU is incredibly rare. What's common are external problems that look like a dead ECU. A shorted 5-volt reference wire from a bad sensor can pull down the entire circuit, making the ECU appear dead. A failure in the main power relay means the ECU never even gets voltage. It's like blaming a light bulb when the power is out for the whole house. NHTSA data shows that for every 10 ECUs replaced, an estimated 4 were perfectly functional. I once had a 2017 Toyota Camry, dead on arrival, quoted for a new engine computer. The real issue was a chewed wire to the crankshaft position sensor. A $200 fix versus a $4,000 mistake. Don't let a shop replace the brain before they've checked every single nerve. This is the one you cannot afford to get wrong. Save this video right now as a reminder before you ever approve that job. So you've seen the ghosts in the machine. Now, here's how you exorcise them. First, the simple battery reset. Disconnect the negative terminal, then the positive. Wait 15 minutes. Before reconnecting, touch the positive and negative cable ends together. For 30 seconds. This performs that capacitive discharge we talked about, draining any residual power. Reconnect positive, then negative. This alone solves half the problems. Second, the throttle body relearn. After any cleaning or battery disconnect, your idle might be off. For most cars, it's simple. Turn the key to on without starting the engine. Wait 3 minutes. Turn it off for 1 minute. Then start the car and let it idle for 10 minutes without touching anything. This allows the ECU to find its new baseline. Finally, the infotainment hard reset. If your screen is frozen, don't just turn the car off and on. Find the specific procedure for your car. It's usually holding down the power button for 10 to 20 seconds. This forces a full reboot of the unit's operating system, clearing the glitches without erasing your saved settings. These simple resets are your first line of defense. They force the digital architecture of your car to stop, take a breath, and remember how it's supposed to work. It's the difference between a free fix in your driveway and a 4-figure bill at the dealership. Now that you know how a car's digital brain gets confused, the next critical step is understanding the network they use to communicate. Watch our deep dive on the CAN bus system to see the hidden data streams that can warn you of a failure before it ever happens.